What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I just got back from seeing the latest action film called Monkey Man, written, directed, and starring Dev Patel. Now, this is his feature debut as a director, so keep that in mind too as I get into these things later. The story follows his character, who doesn't even have a name. He's just an anonymous figure, and it suits the story well, not knowing who he is. But when we first meet him, it's clear that he has vengeance on his mind for things that happened in his past. You get glimpses of it at the beginning, but the story unravels itself as to why he's doing it. There's this religious business tycoon figure who is at the head of what happened to him in his past, and he kind of just starts finding a way to go at this person. So if you've seen the trailer, that's exactly what you get. This is a revenge story, and at the core of it, it's not nothing that we haven't seen before. But what makes this movie so phenomenal, and yes, it is phenomenal, woof, is the cultural aspects of it and the cultural viewpoint of it. And again, I said that watching the trailer. If you saw my trailer, it really hit me in the feels just seeing this kind of story from this perspective of the Indian culture. And that, to me, is what makes this movie stand out even more. All of the cultural things about this film spoke to me on a different level. I was made aware of things that I didn't even know about. Like, once you get into the meat and potatoes of the story and the things that they're putting on screen, I was literally sitting in my seat like, damn, is this really happening? This has to be pulled from a real life place, knowing that the director and the writer and the lead actor Dev, this is something I'm pretty sure hits close to home for him, whether it be something that he witnessed himself or his parents witnessed that he's dealing with now. And it is a really, really strong story in regards to why this all is happening, which I don't want to spoil, because once you get into that and you understand what's going on, it makes his story of vengeance hit even more. So, you have the political side of this, and that's what I meant to say earlier. It's the political aspect of this film that I really didn't see coming and threw me for a loop. And that's the part where I was like, is this really happening over there in this country? I don't want to say exactly what country it is. I think I may have missed that, but I just know that this is pulled from a real place, and it just made the story even more concrete with that aspect of it. So all the performances are great, but especially Dev, like his reaction and hell, his performance in general is really based on facial expressions and body language. He doesn't really talk a whole lot in this film. Of course, he has dialogue, but a lot of things that happen is more of him just giving looks. It's more of him moving his body a certain way, reacting to certain things. Like most of the dialogue is through other characters to kind of fill in the gaps as to what's going on with the politics and all of these different underworld crime things that's going on. You don't really get it from him, you get it from other characters, but he just portrays all of that through his body, which I think is super dope, and especially performance-wise. The stunt work in this film, the stunt work from him in general is just fantastic, but the action in this film is fantastic. Like, if you want to compare it to John Wick, don't do it, because I feel like this is way different than John Wick, period. It does have the longer takes in common with John Wick, but the way the camera moves is so dynamic. There were so many angles and choices here that I was literally like, that was fucking cool. I love that. Places that the camera gets placed and the viewpoints that it chooses are just so fantastic. Like, there's a moment when Dev's character is fighting, and it's from a POV, so you see the bad guys and you see his fist getting thrown like this, his foot getting, kicking somebody in the chest, and then he gets hit like from behind, and his character leans into the shot. As before it was just like POV. Fucking fantastic. And there's a ton of different creative choices for the action in this movie that just make me go like, cooking with oil right now. Film is gorgeously shot. Cinematography is I love it. And the thing again about the cinematography is, for a lot of the film, the lens is open, and I think that it gives you this kind of dreamy, non-reality feel to it that I think makes the lore of the culture feel even more like omnipresent because of these things that happen. Because again, there is some cultural things that happen. The movie opens with a a narrative and a passageway from the character's culture that you learn about why the monkey man and the monkey god and all these things exist. And I really, really enjoyed how that carried on through as he is on his journey of revenge. And they do a lot of other cool things, man. Like the third act. Oh boy, the third act is fucking fantastic. Fantastic. There were things that happened in here that I did not expect, but I love that it happened. Again, it's one of those things where the culture plays a part in everything. So even the action is different because it's backed by the culture of what we're presented by the character in this whole world that we've been living in for these 2 hours. Really freaking enjoyed it, man. And I love that the first act is really a build up of the action, because once the action hits, I feel like I'm trying to think how to say this. The way the movie is structured is there is action, but it's in two big pieces. Like there's a lot of action in the middle, or the second act, the beginning of the second act is a whole bunch of action that goes in place, and then the third act is when the action is the biggest part. But it all pays off though. It's not like it's boring at all. But there's little bits of action in between there, but the big core pieces of the action and what you see in the trailer comes from that second act, beginning of second act, and then the third act just is bananas. And again, all of the villains in the film I think work, and you definitely get a sense of their brutality and the things that they've done, especially this particular character. You really don't fuck with him at all once the story starts to unravel and you see his part in the protagonist's story, and it just, you can't help but be pulled in by it. Like it's all sold from Dev's performance, from his facial expressions to everything, man. This movie is just way more than just an action film. Way more. There's so much being thrown at you on the screen that I really want to rewatch to soak it all in, because again, you have the lore of what's going on with the culture, and then you have the politics of it all that I didn't expect to see. Like there's like a really big political stance here, and even a stance on do I want to spoil this? Human rights. I'll say that there's a really big stance on human rights as well that I did not expect, and it just made the story hit even harder. It's very emotional, and when you put emotion into this genre like this, the action and the punches, the kicks just mean more than what they particularly would when it's aimless. So really love this film. Definitely one of my favorites of the year, and I cannot wait to watch this thing again. Go see it on the big screen if you can, because it is a wild ride from start to finish, man. So if you have seen Monkey Man, let me know in the comments what you thought. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you not like it? Be kind with your comments. And if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. If you already are subscribed, thank you. And until next time, peace. RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy.